I made my first bar of soap, I want to say 10 years ago, and from my first bar, I have been hooked. It is such a fascinating process. It's both an art and a science, and I want to share my love of soap making with you guys so that you can do the same in your own kitchen and create an amazing product that is both sustainable, natural, and healthy, and something you did with your own hands in your own kitchen. It's just so satisfying. Why bother going through all the trouble of making it in your own kitchen? The grocery stores are full of amazing smelling soaps and all kinds of personal hygiene products. The reason why you don't want to buy soap from the supermarket is because it's loaded with all kinds of unnatural chemicals. So the toxic load on our bodies has never been higher in the history of mankind. Cosmetic and personal hygiene products such as body washes, soaps, shampoos, toothpaste, makeup, perfumes, they're all loaded with toxins that accumulate over time, causing serious health issues. And many people don't even make a connection between their health issues and the personal hygiene products that they use. Keep in mind that your skin is your biggest organ. It's porous and it readily absorbs anything that you put on it. The pharmaceutical industry has been using that for years. Think about this: nicotine patches, hormonal creams, topical medications, they're put on top of the skin, and then from there they're absorbed into the bloodstream. Therefore, we need to be careful about what we expose our skin to, especially our little ones. There's a lot of scary research on the damaging effects of these products, but I'm not going to bore you with that today. If you guys would like, do your own research. In fact, I strongly recommend it because we as mothers need to take care of our families. We need to care for our children and make sure that we reduce the toxic load on their bodies as much as possible. I realize it's not possible to eliminate all toxins. However, our goal as mothers is to minimize that toxic overload on our children as much as possible. If you are concerned about your family's health, then soap making is definitely for you. The first thing you'll need is a digital scale. Just a regular kitchen scale will do. I like to use the grams instead of ounces and pounds because the smaller the unit of measurement, the more precise it is. And soap making is a science, and it's a very precise science, so we do need a scale. That's not optional. Then you'll need some kind of a pot. Make sure that all the stuff that you use in soap making is either glass, plastic, or stainless steel, not aluminum. Aluminum reacts with lye, and we don't want to use aluminum anywhere in this process. So this is a stainless steel pot, and I like to keep my stuff separate. I label things and I store them separately. I don't want anybody to cook their breakfast in this accidentally one time, although it's probably clean more or less, but I don't want to risk it just in case. Then I use at least 2 containers, one for measuring the lye, one for water. Another thing you'll need is a thermometer. I like to use this one. I've used it for years. It's a laser thermometer. I like it because it doesn't need to be touching any substances. I can just shoot it at the liquid and it'll give me the precise measurement. Then I have a couple of spoons or a spatula, and see, I label mine because I don't want anybody to accidentally start baking with this. The next thing I have here is an immersion blender, and you can make soap without it. In fact, our foremothers did it all the time, but this definitely speeds up the process. It makes it much easier and smoother, so I strongly recommend it. And then also here I have some soap molds. These are both silicone soap molds. I love these. They're super convenient. The soap just pops right out. It's nice. You don't need these actually. If you don't have these, don't think you can't make soap. I've made soap in sour cream containers and cardboard box, or a box from tea. Anything will work, just as long as the liquids kind of stay in a shape. That's all you need. And then you'll be cutting the soap later, so it doesn't even matter. And then some personal protective equipment that I would recommend are gloves and safety glasses, because we are dealing with lye, so you want to exercise caution. All right, and then from the ingredients list, all we're going to be using today is regular coconut oil. I bought this one at Costco. I've got the organic kind, extra virgin. And then we also have the olive oil. I have extra light olive oil. You can use the cheapest olive oil you can find on the market for this. It'll do the job just fine. Don't waste your money on extra virgin, expensive olive oil. Just get whatever you can find. And this one I also bought at Costco. All right, and the final product that you need is lye. It's also known as sodium hydroxide, and this is extremely important. You cannot make soap without lye. If someone says that they're doing it, then they're probably just getting a ready-made soap, melting it, pouring it, and passing it off as handmade soap. And this lye I got off of Amazon and comes in these convenient granules. Now, you might wonder, how did our ancestors make soap without this product? Well, they made their own lye using ashes from a fireplace. And I have seen the process. It's very fascinating. I think I could probably replicate it if I was ever pressed to do so, if there ever came a time where we couldn't buy or sell and needed to make our own soap from actual scratch. I think I could probably make lye myself, but it's kind of a long process, and this definitely simplifies things. So let's get started now. Here comes the fun part. First, we will start with preparing the surface. Now, some people like to put newspaper all over their countertop. You do want to protect it somehow because lye is a very strong alkaline substance. It can eat through surfaces such as wood and plastic. So you want to be kind of careful about protecting your nice countertops. I just use this simple kitchen towel, and usually that suffices. I used to cover everything up with like a plastic tablecloth and just have cloths everywhere, and it's not that big a deal. I realized it doesn't take much space to prepare it. You can make this in a very tiny kitchen. Literally, this is all that you need. So this is good. Just spread a towel that you don't mind using and just do all your dirty work on here. And I like to have another towel on hand just in case, you know, to wipe things up and stuff. The first thing we'll need is water. Everybody who makes soap recommends that you use distilled water because it has no impurities in it, it's got no minerals, it's very basic. However, I'm going to just use tap water because we have our own well and everything is filtered throughout the whole house, so I feel like it's fine. If you don't have distilled water, don't worry about it, just use tap water. It'll still come out. The concern is that it might have some kind of minerals that will affect the final color or the final look of the bar, which is not that big a deal. So for this recipe, we'll need about 4.3 ounces or 122 grams of water. I'm just gonna get my tap water. And we're ready to measure. So we'll put the container on the scale, we tare it, which just means you get it down to 0 so that it subtracts the weight of the container. We don't want to include the weight of the container in our calculations. All right, we need 122 grams of water. Oop, a little bit too much, it's okay. All right, 122, perfect. All right, so this is the water for our lye solution. Now here comes the fun part with the lye. This is where we put on the safety equipment because lye is actually a dangerous chemical, but if you exercise common sense and just basic caution, you'll be fine. I have gotten it on my skin before, and what it does is kind of leaves a red spot that kind of itches at first, burns, and then heals up and it's gone. All right, so for our lye, we will need 2.88 ounces or 81 grams. All right, we're gonna tare that because we want to get the scale down to 0. We need 81 grams. See, it kind of looks like little tiny snowflakes. 81 grams. And you want to do it here first, not directly into the water, because you can't subtract it once it's in the water. And you do need to measure this out precisely. Good, 81 grams, there we go. That's done. All right, now here's a fascinating thing. This is, get ready for some chemistry, guys. First of all, remember that snow always falls on the lake, so the lye goes into the water, not the other way around. From what I hear, it creates like a chemical reaction and a volcanic explosion or something. I've never tried it, I don't intend to, but that's what happens. Start adding the lye into the water and mixing it slowly. All right, can you see the steam rising from this water? If you touch it, it becomes very hot to the touch. It's about 187 degrees, I believe. Well, let's actually measure it, just out of curiosity. Yeah, this one is 165 degrees right now. Pretty hot. It was just regular tap water, and now it's 165 degrees. That's what the combination of water and lye does. And then once you do this, you should kind of try to stand away from it because it does produce some noxious fumes. And I like to either put it on the windowsill where it will be aired out, or even take it outside if it's not raining out there, which it actually is today. So we'll just keep it on the windowsill. All right, I still have some left over here. I didn't realize that it wasn't all in there. Mix it up a little bit more. And we want it to cool now. We want to try to get both the lye solution and the oils to be approximately the same temperature. People recommend that it be between 100 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Next thing we need is some kind of a fat or oil to make soap. Today we have olive oil and coconut oil. And the reason why I picked these two particular ones is because I want to give you guys a recipe that you can recreate in your own kitchen with whatever you already have on hand. These two particular oils go well together because they balance each other out. This one, coconut oil, makes a great lather, gives you big bubbles in the final bar of soap, and it makes a nice hard white colored bar of soap. Olive oil, on the other hand, is very conditioning. It has almost no lather, but it's very mild, it's gentle, especially for sensitive skins and baby skin. And 100% olive oil soap is called Castile soap. So we'll start with melting our oils because coconut oil is solid at room temperature. We'll need to get our pot on the scale, tare it to get it down to 0 because we don't want to include the weight of the pot. And then we will take 100 grams of coconut oil, regular spoon we use for eating because I don't want soap in here. Now the fascinating thing about chemistry is it sometimes combines two completely different elements and creates a whole new one. That's what happens with soap. Well, think for example of two elements that are both gases, hydrogen and oxygen. You take two hydrogen molecules and one oxygen, and what do you get? Water. So together, those two elements make a whole different substance when they combine. And that's exactly what happens when you make soap. So you take fats and mix them with a strong alkaline solution, and it creates a whole different substance that can be used for so many useful purposes. And it's interesting, if you look at a soap molecule under a very strong microscope, then it looks like a little head with a tail behind it. The head is hydrophilic, so it loves water. It attaches itself to water. And the tail is hydrophobic. It doesn't like water, but it loves oils, it loves grease and germs. And so it's so cool. It kind of attaches to the dirt and grease on your hands, and then it attaches itself to the water that you use to rinse off your hands, and it takes all that stuff off of your skin and leaving it clean. All right, so anyways, now we'll need 500 grams of oil, the olive oil. And I tared the scale again to get it down to 0. And now I'm measuring it out. Almost there. Yes, it's at 505, and that's not a big deal. If you go a little bit over, it's fine. All right, now I want to talk to you about the recipe that I'm using. I developed this recipe using a website. It's called soapcalc.net, and a lot of soapers that I know use the same website to develop their recipes. It's so neat because remember how I was telling you about the different properties of different oils? Here, when you put in the oils that you want to use, for example, here we just have the olive and coconut oil, it will give you what the end product will look like. It will tell you how hard the soap bar will be, the final product. For example, the one we're making today is about a 27, and the recommended range is between 29 and 54. But that's to be expected because 83% of our bar is made of olive oil, so it is a little bit softer. Cleansing, how well does it take the oils and the germs off your skin? This one is at 11. The recommended is between 12 and 22, so it's not as rough. It doesn't take off as much of your natural skin oils. It's gentler. This is going to be a very gentle cleansing bar of soap. Conditioning, it's very conditioning. The recommended values are between 44 and 69, and ours is going to be 70. Then how bubbly is this? It's not as bubbly as it could be, but it'll do the job pretty well. It'll bubble. you'll see creamy. It's fairly creamy towards the bottom though. And then the iodine and the INS values, those aren't that important. Basically it just tells you how hard the bar will be in the end, but they're not that critical to your overall recipe. And then also if you're interested in the types of oils your final bar will have, it's all broken down for you here, but I don't really pay much attention to that. And I'll link at the bottom of the video this website so that you guys can have easy access to it. It's great. It just, you can play with it so much until you develop the perfect bar that you like, and you can actually see what it will be like before you go through the trouble of making your own soap bar. So convenient. Now we need to heat the oils because coconut oil, as you know, is semi-solid at room temperature, and we need to get it to be completely liquid. And also because our live solution is still pretty warm, and we need to try to get our oil solution to be just about at the same temperature, or very close to it at least. So now we're going to heat it up just enough for the olive oil and the coconut oil to melt. And then we can put them together. Okay, the oil's melted. They're ready to go. That only took like under 2 minutes, I think. It's all set. Now let's check on our lye solution. It's been cooling off here on the windowsill. It's still fairly warm. This stuff is pretty incredible. The chemical processes involved in behind the scenes of making soap are pretty fascinating, I gotta say. The first time I made my soap bar, I was hooked. It's been pretty incredible the whole way. So right now, it's at 134 degrees. And our oils are at actually 200 degrees. Now the oils are too warm, but that's okay, not to worry. We can put that on the windowsill, cool it off a little bit more, or even refrigerate it. So you don't really need the oils to be too hot. You just basically need them to melt so that they become kind of smooth. I'm gonna put this on the windowsill so that it can cool down and catch up with the temperature of the lye water. Once the lye water and the oils are approximately 100 to 110 degrees, then we put it all together and the fun begins. Okay, we're down to 112 degrees on the oils, and the lye water is 109, 111, perfect. We can go ahead and make soap now. Now for this part, you do want to put on your goggles again and the gloves, and it's actually a good idea to wear long sleeves, which I'm not today, but it's okay. Now once the saponification process starts to happen, it happens fairly quickly. So have your molds ready to go. Here we go. So this is going to happen pretty fast as soon as we start to blend them together. Now I'm putting my lye water into my cooled off oils. Okay, here we go. Let's make soap. Okay, put the blender in, release any air bubbles that may be in there, and then start blending it in short bursts. You see how the two are combining? They're emulsifying. I believe that's the word. And now what we're looking for is what's called trace. And trace is very simply, basically making it thick enough so that you can pour it. Trace will kind of look like pancake batter, is the way I want to describe it. What it means to leave trace is when you pick up the blender, you can sort of draw or drizzle a little bit over the top, and it kind of leaves a, I guess, trace on top of the soap. See, it's not quite there yet, so I can't show you yet. Now, if you were adding some kind of essential oils or fragrances, this is the point at which you would do it. See, it's starting to trace a little bit. Not quite ready yet. Keep going. Try not to splash anything anywhere. Okay, we're starting to get early trace. You see how it's kind of leaving like a mark on top of the soap batter? A little bit more to go. This doesn't take very long at all, probably between 60 and 90 seconds, depending on the oils that you use and the temperature at which you're blending them. But see, do you see trace now? I can kind of leave a little trail on top of the soap batter. See that? That's trace right there. It kind of looks like pancake batter. You definitely don't want it to look like bread batter, because if you make it like that, then you've gone too far. It will still work. It will still turn into soap. It's just not going to be as pretty or smooth. Everybody wants a smooth bar of soap. That's it. That's all there is to it. This is soap. And it's like 97% saponified already in the pot. But, however, you should not go out and use this particular batch of soap tomorrow. It needs to cure for another 4 to 6 weeks. All right, we're going to pour it right into my mold. Very carefully. Just like that. Let's get all the rest of it out. We don't want to waste any soap. That's it. That's it, folks. That's how you make soap. That's it. Simple. Now, we want to leave this in some place where the kids or pets aren't going to get into it. Some safe location. I usually just put it up as high as I can. And don't do anything to it. Don't touch it. 24 hours later, come back to it and it will be ready to be unmolded and cut. I'm going to put mine on the windowsill because my toddler can't reach the windowsill yet. So that's still a safe location for now. And what should you do with all the dirty dishes? You can just go ahead and rinse them off in your kitchen sink. This is, after all, soap. Some people like to leave this for a while and kind of turns into solid soap, then they rinse it off. I don't like to have dirty dishes sitting around more than necessary, so I'll just rinse it off right away, but while wearing gloves, because this soap is a little bit still zingy. It has about 3% of unsaponified lye in it. So it does sting a little bit, and I like to do that with gloves on. Don't put it in your dishwasher because it'll make too many bubbles and the dishwasher will go crazy. Okay, now here comes the best part of this whole process, is unmolding the soaps and cutting it. My kids love this the most. I made this ahead of time so that I can show you right on camera. See how easily this silicone mold comes right out of the wooden mold. This is definitely my favorite part, is seeing the final product. Look at this beautiful bar of soap. And you can just use a regular knife to cut it, or I bought one of these off of Amazon. They're pretty neat too. I can show you how it works. Just, you know, they have fancy cutting tools and stuff and equipment, but you really don't need anything to make a perfectly good soap bar. Look at that. Beautiful bars of soap. It's just so satisfying making a great product for your whole family. Something that is very useful, something that's practical, something that's needed every day. And there's no feeling like it. Just doing these great projects for your family, you know? I love it. And you can get as creative as you'd like. My goal today was just to get you started so that you would know how the process works and you'd have the necessary tools to make it happen. But don't feel limited by my recipe. Get as creative as you want. Look at this beautiful bar of soap, all ready to go. Now don't use this today or tomorrow. Wait, like I said, 4 to 6 weeks for it to cure completely. and then it will become even harder with time, and it will be perfectly safe. There will be zero lye in this, absolute no lye. It becomes a completely safe product, even for babies. This is, like I said, when we went over the recipe, it's a very gentle recipe of soap. So it's gonna be kind of cleansing, but also very soothing and calming. And I've used this recipe for my babies before. All right, now I wanna show you another soap bar that I made yesterday. And this one I made with the same exact recipe, except towards the end, as I was combining the oils with the lye water, I divided the batter in half and added white kaolin clay powder to half of it. This is a clay that is used to make face masks. And then the other half, I added charcoal. And as you know, charcoal is great for the skin, and it has so many uses in the home and in health. I don't know how this is gonna look inside, so I'm curious to see what happened. So I wanna show you this fancy cutter that my dad made for me a while back. And he's a great handyman. He can do anything, build anything, invent anything. It just has like a guitar string here. You can tighten it up as necessary, and then it cuts soap so smoothly. But like I said, you don't need any fancy equipment in order to cut your soap bars beautifully. I have this one knife that I always use strictly for soap. I don't mix any of my soaping equipment with my regular cooking equipment. I just don't want to get any lye anywhere in there. But let's cut open this other bar that I made last night, to which I added some charcoal, and see what it looks like inside. I'm excited to see if it came out like I was hoping it would. Ooh, look at this, guys, it's beautiful. Isn't that a stunning bar of soap? And it has no chemicals in it, only white clay and charcoal powder, in addition to all the good oils. I'm telling you, once you start making soap, you cannot stop, because your creativity is like unlimited when you're starting to get into soap making. Once you start making your soap bars, you can express yourself as creatively as you'd like. Look at these beautiful bars of soap. Aren't they beautiful? A completely natural product for your entire family. Well, there we go, guys. That's how you make soap. If you guys would like to learn advanced soaping techniques like the one that I used for the charcoal bar, let me know in the comments below, and we can go over various advanced techniques, and also how to add fragrances and incorporate various colors into your soaps, as well as create different designs. There's so many techniques out there, and it takes years to master a lot of them, but I can show you some of the ones that I like the most, if you'd like. If you try this, guys, let me know how it turns out for you. I'm very curious to see how yours turns out. Once you try making your own bar of soap, you will never want to buy anything over the counter again, like ever, I promise you. This is like as satisfying as it gets. Making something with your own hands in your own kitchen that benefits your family, that has no harmful chemicals in it, no strange ingredients that are causing health issues in the rest of the population. It's just so rewarding and so satisfying. Good luck to you all. Let me know how yours turn out. And I just wanted to quickly show you guys some other soaps that I made last week. These are made using rose clay, Moroccan red clay, and white kaolin clay powder. I just added these towards the end of the saponification process. These are fully 100% olive oil bars, and I made these for my kids and for my grandkids to use when they take baths. And look at these adorable shapes that you guys can use to make your soaps. You can just get as creative and have as much fun with these as you'd like.